And anyway, I'm in this, we've had dinner and we're hanging out in the bar, and I get a phone call. And it's this girlfriend. And she said, George, I'm just back from Hawaii. I'm staying at a friend's house out in the Mission District. Wonder if you could, you want to come by. The kids would really like to see you. I wrote songs for her children, and they liked me. And I said, well, I just took 2 hits of LSD, so I think I'll probably stay put here, but how about tomorrow morning? And she said, sure, when we set a time, and it was 8 o'clock in the morning, and I left the bar about 6, and I spent 2 hours walking across San Francisco to go over to Mission. Beautiful morning, one of those beautiful mornings. I mention that because it was the frame of mind I was in. I was still really, really high. And when I go to this address, I knock on the door, and Kate Wolf opens the door. And Kate, she favored these long, floor-length dresses, gingham dresses, and there was always around her the smell of stuff like fresh baking bread, and that's what came out of the doorway there. And she's, come on in, your friend is upstairs, and I'm busy preparing for this party. So she went back to her kitchen. I went in to visit with Lisa and the children, and the children asked me to sing them a song. And I said, okay, what do you want to hear? I thought they'd want to hear one of their songs that I'd written for them. And absolutely blew my mind. I think they were 8 and 6 at the time. And they said, Amazing Grace, Amazing Grace. Okay. And Kate Kate said, I said, I don't have my guitar with me. And Kate said, well, I've got a guitar under the couch I used to play. She hadn't played guitar in 2 years at this time. Her kids had played with it, I had crayon on it and whatnot. But I got it tuned up and started singing Amazing Grace. And Kate was in the kitchen, and she put a harmony on. And our voices fit together like water and sunlight. It was just magic. Anyway, that's how I met her. And then it turned out I had another girlfriend who lived, by coincidence, just lived right across the street from Kate. Penny Thompson was her name. And we were still friends. We were good friends. And so I immediately started sleeping on Penny's couch. And in the morning, when Kate's husband and son would leave for work and school, I would go across the street and help her with her chores and take care of her little girl.
So she was married?
Yeah. Well, we did music. Once she started singing, there was no way that this was not going to go forward. That she wasn't going to sing more. I wouldn't, And then one day she said, God, I wish I could write songs like you do. And we were teaching each other songs because she turned out she knew all of those like Tom Paxton songs and all of the older folk music and all. She totally knew that. She'd gone to high school in Berkeley, same. She was like 2 years behind Joan Baez in high school. So Joan sang at all the things and everything. Kate never got to do any of that, and Kate was very withdrawn person at that time. And but she knew all that stuff, and so we were teaching each other stuff, and she said, I wish I could write a song. And I said, you can, and I'll show you how to do it right now. And she said, I can't even imagine how I would start. And I said, well, what would you like to have more of in your life? For example, sunshine, love. We could use a lot more love around here. I said, there's your song. We need a lot more love around here. That's what I did. And she got it. And she took it. We need a lot more love around here. I'm gonna go right out and make some any way I can. We need a lot more love around here. So she just took that simple old folk set of changes and she got it.
Yeah.
Say anything you want in that context of those simple musical changes. She never looked back. Anyway, that's how I met Kate.
So you really got her back into playing guitar, or you were there at the same time?
Well, I wouldn't let her out of my sight hardly. You know, I said, "Oh, this is crazy." I said, "You've got more juju than any of us, and really needs to get out there." And she was at a place in her life, in my opinion, based on results too, where she really had to change. Things weren't working out for her very well with her marriage, and she really wanted to do something different. And I just happened to show up. It was like that. You got a water balloon, and somebody comes along and hits that pin. All of that music was inside her like that water in that balloon. It was just wanting to come out. And I just happened to be the pinhead who came by and pricked the bubble. And we became best friends. We weren't lovers at all. But Kate had a lot of best friends. I was not Kate's only best friend, but we were best friends, if that makes any sense. And the timing was just right. But anyway, we sat down in her basement while she did. She practiced and we practiced, and we put together a duo, singing harmony with each other, backing each other up. Put together a set. Went down to it was on Union Street. I forget the name of the place. The Coffee Gallery. Was it? Yeah, Coffee Gallery. And I think that's what it was called. Anyway, we went to an open mic, and this guy came up to us at the end of the open mic, and he said, "My name is so-and-so. I'm a A&R man for Atlantic Records, and I would like to bring some recording equipment in here next week. I've talked to the management, and we can record you guys." And we said, fine. And alcoholism I was so drunk that it was terrible. That first performance was flawless.
Boy, that's like a dream for someone at an open mic
Yeah, yeah,
to have that offer.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And but I think I didn't. Yeah, I didn't want any success really at that point in my life. And that's a whole other thing. But anyway, she went on from there, and shortly after that, we did we did a family party at her place. Nobody knew that she and I were doing this rehearsal, except my girlfriend across the street, my former girlfriend across the street. And two funny things happened there. One was I was purposely keeping her away from my musician friends. I wanted her to be solid in what she was doing before she hit the street. And the first thing that happened was we surprised her husband and their friends and family by singing for them at this Christmas party for its firm, his architectural firm. And we sang beautifully. It was just one of the perfect things. And we were greeted with practically a dead silence because everybody in the room knew what it meant. She was out of there.
Mm.
And they all assumed that we were lovers. We were not. We were friends. We were not lovers. And
Oh, so okay. They assumed you were, if you sang like that together.
exactly.
Yeah, there's got to be something evil going on here.
Yeah. And after she had left there, we fooled around for 10 minutes one time, but we both realized, no, that's not what we want to do with each other. We want to sing with each other. That's what we want to do. And but I had to make a choice not long after that, a few months after that, living and dying, which meant giving up alcohol or not. And giving up alcohol in those days meant giving up, it certainly meant giving up playing in bars for me.
Mm, right.
And that's the only place there was to play in those days. That was bars. And more often than not, the only pay you would get would be a pitcher of beer and a stack of peanuts or something, and a few tips, gas money to the next gig or whatever.
Mm.
But anyway, as Utah Phillips said, talking about Kate Wolf, the music was a total fringe benefit. Kate Wolf was an excellent human being. That's a direct quote, and that's what's true. She was a good. Yeah, she and I, and Amazing Grace is how we met. And Amazing Grace, according to my former wife, saved her life. I think I told you that story. She was having a home birth. We were having a home birth. And she was in this extended labor, my wife. And Kate came over and she finally delivered the birth, but there was way too much blood. The midwife was freaking out. We got Phoebe in the back of Kate's van and started to drive, and Kate looked over at me and she said, "George." And I said, "What, Kate?" She said, "Amazing Grace." And we sang together Amazing Grace all the way to the hospital. And Phoebe has told many people that she believes that that saved her life. She just wrote in on Amazing Grace.
Wow.